Oh, that is disgusting. All right. We're going to continue on here. Now, remember we just got done with 30, 60, 90, and 45, 45, 90 triangles. So, we're going to look at, well, what are the cosine and tangent ratios for those types of triangles? So, let's draw a 30, 60, 90 triangle here. 30, 60, 90. Now, to make the numbers easy, I'll make my short side 1. So how do I get from my short leg to my hypotenuse in a 30, 60, 90? Multiply by 2. So this is 2. How do I get from my short leg to my long leg in a 30, 60, 90? Square root of 3. Okay? All right. So if I'm talking about a 30-degree angle, okay, what is the sine? Well, the sine is going to be my opposite side over my hypotenuse. Well, what's my opposite side of 30 degrees? Come on, we just did a worksheet on this. What's the opposite side of a 30-degree angle here? 1. What's my hypotenuse? 2. What's the cosine of the 30-degree angle? What's adjacent to my 30-degree angle? Square root of 3. What's my hypotenuse? 2. What's the tangent of a 30-degree angle? What's my opposite side? 1. What's my adjacent side? Now, we can't leave the square root of 3 on the bottom. So, how do we get it off of the bottom? Multiply by square root of 3. So it's square root of 3 over 3. Okay? That's for a 30-degree angle. Let's do a 60-degree angle, and then we'll draw a 45, 45, 90. What's the sine of a 60-degree angle? Okay, what's the opposite of the 60-degree angle? Square root of 3. What's my hypotenuse? 2. That doesn't change. What's the cosine of a 60-degree angle? Well, what's adjacent to my 60-degree angle? 1. What's my hypotenuse? 2. And what's the tangent of a 60-degree angle? Well, what's my opposite? Square root of 3 is opposite. What's my adjacent? 1. And square root of 3 divided by 1 is square root of 3. Okay? Now, let's do a 45, 45, 90. Boy, I kind of ran out of room here, but we'll make it work. So if this side's 1, what's this side down here? 1. And what's my hypotenuse? Square root of 2. Remember, it's an isosceles triangle. So each of the sides are the same, and the hypotenuse is square root of 2 times it. So, what's the sine of a 45-degree angle? Well, let's just use this one. What's the opposite side of that? 1. What's hypotenuse? Can't leave square root of 2 on the bottom, so we multiply top and bottom by square root of 2. So we get square root of 2 over... What's square root of 2 times square root of 2? Which is 2. Square root of 4 is 2. So square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just plain 2. All right, cosine of a 45-degree angle. What's adjacent to the 45 degrees? 1. What's the hypotenuse? So then what do I have to do to the top and bottom? Multiply by square root of 2. So you get square root of 2 over 2. Tangent of a 45-degree angle. What's the opposite side? Adjacent side. 1 divided by 1 is? That's how to find sine, cosine, and tangent of a 30 and a 60 and a 45-degree angle. Just draw out the triangles. Okay. Now we're going to get into problems. A plane takes off and climbs at a 12-degree angle. Is that angle sufficient to fly over the top of an 11,088-foot mountain that is 12.5 miles from the runway? Or does the plane need to increase its angle of ascent? Now, this is a real-life, real-world problem because you want to be on a plane that actually clears the mountain instead of crashing into the mountain. So, you got to know your trig for this. So, let's figure it out. This is opposite. This is adjacent. Opposite and adjacent is what trig function? Opposite over adjacent. Opposite adjacent. Goes with a T for tangent. Tangent of my angle. What's my angle? 12 degrees equals my opposite side, x, over my adjacent side, 12.5 miles. Now, your calculators are programmed with sine, cosine, and tangent ratios in them. Okay? So grab out your calculators. Nice big calculator, Wolf. Take and hit the tangent of 12 on your calculator and tell me what number that is to 4 decimal places. Tan 12. 0.2125. Okay, equals x over 12.5. Okay. Now, what do we do to both sides to get x alone? Not by x. You want to get x alone. Multiply by 12.5. So take 12.5 times that, and what do you get for x? So it's going to climb up 2.65 miles in 12.5 miles of flying. Okay? Along the ground, for the 12.5 miles that goes along the ground, it's going to go up in height at 2.65 miles. Now, how many feet are in a mile? 5,280. 5280. So that's the number of feet in a mile. These are the number of miles. If you multiply these together, what do you get? It's going to go up 13,992 feet. Is it going to make it over that mountain? Yes, it is. It's going to make it over that mountain by 2,000, almost 3,000 feet. A carpenter installs a brace to hold up a sagging gate so it is square. How long is this brace? Here's my angle. Here's my opposite. This is my hypotenuse. How long is my hypotenuse? What trig function do I use for opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. So the sine of my angle, 33.847, equals my opposite side, 3, over my hypotenuse, we'll call it x. Uh-oh. X is on the bottom of that fraction. I want to solve for x, so I have to get it out of the bottom. How do I get it out of the bottom of a fraction? Times it by x. So if you multiply by x, x cancels out there, right? So x sine of 33.847 equals 3. How do you get x alone? Divide by sine of 33.847. So what does x equal? 3 divided by the sine of 33.847. 5.3862. degree. Okay. And that is feet long. Now we got to figure out how big angles are with trig. So to figure out this angle B here and this angle A here, I guess A comes before B, so we'll figure out A first. So from A, what is the 1 called? Adjacent. And 4 is called the? What trig function is adjacent over hypotenuse? That's equal to cosine. So the cosine of angle A is the adjacent side 1 divided by hypotenuse 4. So the cosine of A should equal 0.25. So we want to know how big A is. So we're going to have to take this cosine over to the other side. When we take the cosine to the other side of the equation, it becomes what's called the inverse cosine. So on your calculator, you're going to push second cosine and 0.25 to figure out what A is. And what do we get? 75.52. Now to find B, it's the opposite over the hypotenuse to figure out what B is. So that's the sine of B is equal to 1/4. So B is equal to the inverse sine of 1/4 or 0.25. So what would B be equal to? 14.48, I think.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yep.
What do these two numbers add up to? What do 14.48 and 75.52 add up to? 90. Because if this is a 90-degree angle, these two better add up to be 90 degrees because a triangle is 180. So once you figure out one angle, what can you do to figure out the other angle? Subtract it from 90. Okay? You wouldn't have to do the cosine and sine of each